So good morning, patrons. I got a question already on the video that I just posted about the 2 ways to fail the G1000. And the question comes from Michael. You can probably see it right there. The question is, how stressful is IFR flying once the check ride is behind you? And are the currency requirements of 6 approaches every 6 months with some holding and some tracking of airways, is that really enough? So that's a lot to type. So I just wanted to post a video response here and let you know that yes, IFR flying can be stressful. It doesn't have to, but there's 2 things I want to leave you with. There's lots of shades of gray there, from hard IFR with approaches to minimums and rain and the potential for icing, all the way back to my little IFR playground here in the summer, which is pretty benign, just a marine layer that you can't see through. So it's extremely important that you have a predetermined set of, objective minima, things that you will not fly in when the weather is below X or when there are yellow radar returns or freezing levels. So I teach 4 IFR no-goes. Anytime the freezing levels are at or below the MEAs, anytime there are significant yellow radar returns along the route of flight, anytime the surface winds are in excess of what my personal minimums are for the region, usually about 25 knots here in California, and anytime the weather is below the minimums for the approach back into the airport. Those are IFR no-goes. So those will keep me out of a lot of trouble. And the second thought is, we do all this training in the IFR environment. It's very rapid. It's like one approach and another approach and another approach. So I like to remind pilots that IFR flights in the real world tend to sort of lull you into a complacent feeling. There's maybe a lot to do at the beginning, but after that, if I'm flying from here to Santa Monica, it's just a lot of, turn left to some heading, fly direct to some fix, not a lot going on. So the events, I call them, are pretty widely spaced. Now, the closer you get to your destination, it just boop, 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 boop. Everything starts getting closer and closer and closer and closer together. So the world you learn when you prepare for an instrument rating, that simulated IFR kind of intense environment, I like to equate to the last 30 minutes of a typical real world IFR flight. So just remember, the really hard part in the real world comes at the very end. So anyway, those are some thoughts. And then on currency requirements, yes, those are absolutely a minimum, 6 approaches in 6 months. If you can fly more than that, you really should. If all you're doing is the minimum currency requirement for enough, cycles in a row, if that's all you do for 5 years, then yeah, I think you're going to be lacking in some proficiency. So try to get out there more than that. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that question.